Yeah.
For Fact Academy, the time suck was making the curriculum.
Okay.
That was an absolutely massive, massive project. I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes it hurts my brain to even think about the time that was spent on that.
Okay, we are recording, and today I have on Adriana Jerez. She started Fact Training Academy. It's a dog training academy that offers a number of courses for people getting into dog training, and she also has a YouTube channel of the same name where she lets people in on the secrets to training dogs. So thank you, Adriana, for coming on today.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Definitely. So we're just going to talk a little bit about dog training, and then a lot about how you got started with this business. So for the first question, I'm just wondering, how did you get started in dog training? And was this, you always knew you wanted to do it, or what did you do professionally before you got into dog training?
Yeah. Did I always know I wanted to be a dog trainer? Absolutely not. I've sort of been a little bit of a Jill of all trades, right? The
Yeah.
female version of a jack of all trades.
Yes.
Mostly I've just been really, when I get into something, I get really into it.
Yeah.
So I just like to really explore it. And I think my story is probably really common to a lot of dog trainers. I got this dog and she was like the best dog ever. And I was like, I'm going to be a dog trainer. And I thought with this one dog, I was like, I can already do all of this. So why not just get certified? I'm glad I did get certified because I didn't know anything, but that's how I got started. And before that, I don't know if you can see, I have a periodic table.
Oh, wow.
Over there. Yeah, I was studying chemistry and also loved that. So really happy doing that. And then I just was, I don't know, finished my dog training course and decided, you know what, I'm going to give it a try. And it was awesome. Like I haven't looked back.
Oh, wow. Chemist to dog trainer. Wait, so what were you trying to do in chemistry? That's interesting.
That's a great question. I think the problem was, I think the reason I no longer do chemistry is because I didn't really have a plan of what to do with chemistry.
Yeah.
Like I just sort of fell in love with the subject itself and decided like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to study chemistry. At some point when I was like a semester away from graduating, I suddenly realized I really can't see me doing anything in this field.
Oh, wow.
So I actually didn't even graduate. I never finished. Well, since this isn't going anywhere, I will just quit. So I went to dog training. So
a semester before. And so was this after you did the dog training course and you're like, I'm just going to go explore this?
Yeah, I had sort of done the dog training course and I was thinking it would be like a hobby. So like I said, I get really into subjects. So same thing happened with physics. So for me, my hobby for a while was I'm going to watch physics videos online. And so and same thing, I was supposed to be going to school for history. And then I was like, I love chemistry. I'm just going to be a chemistry major.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So same thing. I just was like, I was in school. I was like, oh, I really like dog training. I'm going to just take this course. And so it kind of lined up well that by the time I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have spent all this time in a field where I can't really see myself going anywhere.
Doing anything.
So it just worked out well. I happened to have my certification and I had a mentor in my area who I had already been working with, just mostly learning from her.
Okay.
And she and I hit it off and she was like, yeah, come work for me. So just worked like that.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you had a mentor. She was just doing the in-person training and had clients that you could like augment her training business with.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
And to be honest, I worked with her. And then while I was working with her, I was also trying to open up my own dog training business, which was Loving Paws, right? So before I turned into Fact Academy, I started off just on my own with a business called Loving Paws Dog Training.
And so Loving Paws, that was when you started your first YouTube channel, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, we can, I guess, take that as a jumping point into the online thing. So you started with Loving Paws. How did you decide to start a YouTube channel? And then how did that morph into what it is now, Fact Academy?
So I knew from the beginning that I was not interested in a long-term plan of offering services.
Yeah.
That was really important to me. So when I look at my, when I started realizing this thing about chemistry and I was like, I don't know that I want to go work in chemistry. I decided that when I do decide to do something, I got to make sure that it matches up with a long-term plan.
Yeah.
So part of my goals and part of my vision is always includes like my lifestyle design. Like what kind of life do I want to lead? And so throughout, like when I think in my senior year of high school or right after I graduated, I started learning a little bit about passive income.
Yeah.
And so I took one little online course, and I have a bunch of people that I just read up a lot about, and I started to know a little bit about entrepreneurship. And even when I had just graduated from high school, I sort of dabbled in trying to open some passive income businesses. And so through Loving Paws, I was really focused more on how can I turn dog training into at least partially a passive income business.
Yeah.
So for me, creating content was my preferred way to do that. I mean, there are so many ways, and I've tried a bunch of ways for passive income. I really like creating content.
Okay.
So I thought if I can provide value through YouTube videos, then I can build up an audience through there. So I've also used my YouTube channel to get people onto my mailing list using like the cards and the end screens. And I've used it to link to some of my free courses that I offer also to get people on my mailing list.
Yeah.
So I just thought that would be a really good platform since I don't mind being in front of a camera and I like explaining things. I thought that would be perfect.
Huh. Okay. So those are good reasons to like content. What were some of them? I'm kind of interested in that because I figured since you did dog training, you found out about things after.
Mm-mm.
And then you were like, oh, I'll apply to dog training. What did you try for passive income before content? That's so interesting.
Yeah,
these stories are always great. That's why I asked.
So the very first thing, I'm pretty sure this one was I was still in high school. Okay. The first thing was, no. I think I had just graduated or something. I think the first one was like, I was going to create a course on, I think it was on keeping chickens.
Yes.
For kids.
Yes.
I was like, I'm going to create a chicken keeping handbook because we like lived in the suburbs, but it turned out that in our zone we could keep chickens, which was like totally bizarre. We were living it, but we were like, let's do it. This is awesome. Yeah. And so we got part of this group called like Backyard Hens or Backyard Chickens.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to turn this into a business. So I got on Weebly and I was like, I'm going to make my own website. Yeah. And I had no idea what I was doing, but that was like my very, very first attempt. Yeah. And then I took this course. And then I think I had a couple of like, I have this idea for a product. And I made so many websites with like 0 products.
What, can you give me one example of a product like that you're making? This is so cool.
I'm so embarrassed actually.
Everyone's
I don't think
these stories are always embarrassing.
I was late into the smartphone game. Okay. So I was on like my dinosaur phone for a really long time, like texting where you press each number like 4 times to get to the right letter. Yeah. Okay. So finally I moved up. Everyone at this point has iPhones. Okay. And I moved up to a slider phone. So it slides open and you got the keyboard. And I'm like, this is smart. Like this is a really good idea. So then I got like a real smartphone with just the screen. And it infuriated me that I couldn't feel the buttons.
Yeah.
To click. So I just assumed that everyone was equally furious. Turned out to be the case. Yeah. And so it's like, I'm just going to design this like touch sensitive little silicone thing with buttons so that you can feel, and it matches up perfectly with your keyboard so that you can feel the keys as you press them. And if this turns out to be a really good idea, somebody better credit me.
Somebody better at least give you like a royalty or something. Yeah. So you're talking about like plug a smartphone into a keyboard.
No. This is like, I'm going to show you.
Beyond.
So let's say this is your phone.
Yeah.
The screen is kind of dirty. Don't look at it. I just came back with dogs and it's like dog drooly.
All good.
So this is your phone. It would be like a little silicone screen that you can just flip over, and the bottom edge is your keyboard. So you can feel.
Oh, so it'd be like the old school ones. Yeah, and you feel the same.
Yes.
That is hilarious. I bet there are other people that really want that.
Right? I was actually really shocked at the time when people were like, who's going to buy that? I was like, everyone's going to buy this. There's no one.
That's interesting because that seems like a really hard thing to prototype.
Yeah, that was my problem is like, this is what happened. I have a cousin who's, actually this doesn't even make sense. I have a cousin who studied computer science and programming, and for some reason I was like, perfect, he'll just help me.
He'll do it, yeah.
Manufacture this. I'm like,
You must know everything about making the physical parts of a tech product, yeah.
I know,
For
it's
sure.
kind of, that's why I'm so embarrassed to share it, because in the end,
Yeah.
I'm like, this is not a good idea.
Yeah. No, like I think everyone, I mean, I've done some horrible stuff. I think the first website I ever owned was like birdshopper.com. It was
Bird
like
shopper?
selling bird feeders and bird baths. So I
Awesome.
feel like you've gone so above and beyond telling us about your, I had to add something there. Yeah, it was pretty bad, pretty embarrassing.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you.
Pretty bad.
Yeah.
So luckily you had found success. You tried a bunch of different things. You started your first website, and then you moved from Living Paws to Fact Academy. So I was actually like, I knew you must have had some serious scheming going on with business stuff, because you guys have an extremely professional setup on Teachable with your different courses. Like, how did you get to the point where you knew how to do that? Because I was pretty impressed.
Um, so I'll try to see, a lot of this happened like trial and error.
Yeah.
So with Loving Paws, that website, like still even right now when I go to it, it's just not as good as the Fact Academy website, which I also built. So I built both of those websites.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
sure that the next website I built will be
Nice.
even, I'll look back and be like, oh, Fact Academy stinks. But really, I got on WordPress, and WordPress was the first time Loving Paws was the first time I did something on WordPress, which that's like, you need to go to WordPress. If you're going to try to build your own website, that's what I think is like, don't spend too much time with the other ones, because if you're really going to go somewhere, you're going to switch to WordPress eventually, or you're going to hire somebody to design it for you.
Do it yourself.
So the functionality of WordPress was something that I really wanted to do. And so that was, Loving Paws helped me learn how to do WordPress, for example. Right. So that was like, I tried this business. I learned a lot through doing that. And then I moved on. And actually with Loving Paws, so I started really thinking about, okay, I have to be making money, right? So I have to be offering services right now.
Yeah.
Starting out. But eventually I want to move to content creation that also, so like one way to do that is YouTube monetization, which is not super lucrative unless you're like really hardcore. And to be honest, I don't know too much about that. So I don't.
So for the people not watching, by YouTube monetization, you mean when YouTube just gives you money for the ads that they're showing of your channel, right?
Exactly.
So like, what did you figure out was better than just putting things up on YouTube and waiting for them to send you a check?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not complaining about the little side income that comes in through that, So
it's horrible. Like, I'll complain for you about it. It's complete ripoff. But what do you do instead? You use it to bring traffic, right?
Yeah, so I made 2 online courses through Loving Paws, still with my little GoPro, and what I used as my first lapel mic was I cut off the earbud.
Nice. That's awesome. That's resourceful.
I just paper clipped it to the inside of my shirt. I was like, this is fine.
Yeah.
So I made 2 online courses about puppy. One was about puppy training, and one was about puppy care and management. And so that was where, so I started looking at where can I host an online course. And the online course idea, I think that may have come from Pat Flynn, who has a lot of information about entrepreneurship. I was all the time listening to his, as soon as I was like, I'm going into business, I was like,
Pat Flynn,
Jerez and Pat Flynn, like listening to their podcasts and trying to stay pumped, because it's a long and not an easy road. So I was trying to stay motivated. And I think at some point they talked about how content is essentially free after you create it, right? So I don't have to invest much money in continually selling this content. Yeah. So unlike if you're selling a product, right, you have to have your inventory, and or you can also find drop shippers, of course, but you have to invest a lot more money in the product continually. Whereas once you create the content, it's done. Yeah. And you can sell that forever. So I made these 2 online courses. And actually that was how other people I have a network of dog trainers that we're all friends, and we all know each other. Yeah. And that was how I started saying like, hey guys, look at this. And I featured a couple of them in one of my courses. Yeah. And so that was where I think I actually started letting other trainers in my area know like, hey, we can do more online. Yeah. And I think that's why when this group of women are like, we need to create an academy to certify dog trainers, they were like, Adriana, can you do this? Because they knew that I had these online courses, and they knew that I had a YouTube thing and like my limited video editing skills. Yeah. So that's like actually leads to something I wanted to ask you. Again, like most people, it takes a while for them to get to the point you're at, which,
we'll link some of the technology you're using. You recommended WordPress. You're using Teachable to host your courses.
Yeah.
Really awesome. So you don't have any marketer that's working with you as just a marketer or an editor. You're doing all this yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, definitely it's in the works. Like we want to hire at some point, but right now it's us. And in particular, I think my biggest contribution to FactAcademy has in a large part been the tech side of things, and building up the blog and getting people to guest post on the blog and the YouTube channel and things like that.
Yeah. So that's kind of interesting, because I kind of feel like to everyone on the surface, you're a dog trainer, but you are doing potentially more on the tech side because you're working with all these non-tech dog trainers, I would think, then maybe on some days probably more than dog training.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So like, wouldn't you recommend to people that they start, maybe understanding some of these technologies just regardless of the field they're in? Because it seems like that's a big part of your job right now.
Yeah, I would definitely. I mean, to be honest, it doesn't make sense to me not to start to get into some of this online stuff. There's obviously, I think we can say without a shadow of a doubt, there's obviously a huge online market. And I don't know about this stuff in particular, but I don't see a future where it's not going to grow even more.
Yeah.
So even just as an example, even though Loving Paws is not really offering services anymore, right? Like Loving Paws is kind of, it's done, it's gone. But even when I was offering services through Loving Paws, my clients were so excited about the fact that I didn't leave them written homework. I gave them access to my online courses, and I said, you're going to watch a set. And they were like, they were like, I feel, only one actually said this. So one of them was like, I just feel like you're a celebrity when you walk in here because I've been watching your videos all day long. So I don't know. They really like that. And especially with teaching a skill like dog training, I mean, it really is, you got to get the mechanics down, and it's not intuitive. It's a different species. It's not unusual that people struggle with that. But I have just found that providing value to your customers, even if you're offering a service, it is worth it to invest time, hire somebody if you need to hire someone, and make some online content, especially videos. I mean, I think videos are so great. I love videos. Most people love watching videos. I also like reading, but I know most of my clients really would prefer to watch me do it rather than read a lengthy explanation about it.
Yeah. I would think for dog training too, it seems like it'd be hard to even picture some of the stuff just reading.
Yeah, it really is.
But so, I mean, with learning all this tech stuff and getting into, I guess, your own production, don't you feel like, I mean, first I don't know your experience, but I think for most people it's kind of gratifying because you work through a problem and then you've built something on your own. But then also, don't you feel like you're in a way better position to scale your business because you know how to hire people, who to hire, what you need done?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that's a huge, every failed project that I've had, I really don't feel bad about the quote unquote failure because I learned so much. And so I definitely do feel that when, I do sometimes hire people, especially for graphics. So I spend a lot of time and pain learning how to make vector graphics, to make some simple graphics. So now I have the vocabulary. I know how to ask for source files from the people that I hire now to do the graphics for us. So, I definitely think it helps to know about the parts of production as much as you can so that when you hire someone, you know what you're talking about, you know what you need to ask for, actually communicate effectively and understand what goes into their process too. So a lot of times I also do a little bit of video editing for other companies, and sometimes they're not really aware of what goes into editing and what goes into, they don't understand how these things all layer in. So I definitely think it'll help, especially in the future as we get bigger. Yeah.
No, I definitely think so. And I think one of the things that's really cool that people seem to not, know about or care about is now you're in a position where if you decide you don't like dog training, you can go consult for, converting small businesses online. And it's you have this whole other career you can pretty much do now.
Yeah. I mean, even look, I
make good money doing it.
I mean, very important. And I don't mean to come off as just I'm only in it for the money, which I know that some people aren't, and to be honest, I don't blame them. They've got a lifestyle they want to leave, and that's fine. But for me, a lot of it is what am I passionate about? And so to have that freedom and know that whatever I get interested in the future, I'm young, I'm not going to always just do this one thing. It's done. My whole life set. it doesn't matter what I decide to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really feel confident that if I get really into this other avenue of information and learning, I can turn that into something profitable, which is, it just gives me a lot of freedom, I think.
Yeah. That, I think that's like the biggest thing I try to get across in this channel, is that like it's learning how to develop options for yourself is, I think, one of the biggest ways to get rid of that, like, learned helplessness people have sometimes that keeps them, stagnated wherever they're at, like hoping they can do something instead of just going for it. And it's like, now you have that freedom where you have all these options because of this.
For sure. Well, and every skill that you learn, like, at least what I've experienced, everything that you learn, especially if you just share it, it's not like I'm out there advertising to everyone what I know how to do, but the first couple of videos I made, I sent it to my friends, like, guys, look what I made. Cool.
Yeah.
I throw up when I see it now, but I was proud and I made it. All those little things that you do, it opens all kinds of doors. So, now I'm doing a lot more video editing for other companies. Did I plan on doing that? No.
Yeah.
We were making promotional videos now. And so, I could definitely, if I wanted to, I could definitely just say, you know what, I'm going to like seriously set up this company for video production and editing. I really feel like I could do that. So I totally get what you're saying. Is like, you really have options. There is no learned helplessness. If I want to do something, I feel really confident that I can just do it.
Yeah. That's awesome. That is awesome. And I like the part about how you've been thinking about, it's interesting. The thing I really like talking about people like yourself is that it seems like everyone who on the surface is just like, oh, I'm a dog trainer and we decided to put this online. It's like everyone you talk to has been thinking about what they want to do and tried so many things to get to the point where they find some success.
Yeah.
And it's weird. It's like it's almost like not polite conversation for people to be like, I really want to like create my own thing. Like, I've actually been scheming on this for quite a while. Like,
yeah.
It's for some reason like not, I don't know, people don't talk about it, but many people have a desire to do something like what you're doing. So I really appreciate you sharing this.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think, the Shia LaBeouf thing, the video that that one, to be honest, a lot of people thought it was a total joke, and I get that. But to be honest, like, seriously, just do it. If you want to do something, just do it. Like, they're literally, I mean, of course, there are days that I wake up and I'm like, oh, maybe I just won't make a video today. And then I just tell myself, like, you know what, just set up the camera, just do it. If it sucks, you don't have to do it. You know what I mean? You don't have to publish it. So I think a big part is just telling yourself, no, I am going to do this today. And if it's terrible, it's fine. I can trash it, but I'm just going to do this today. So yeah, even just taking like little tiny steps every day. I think that a lot, well, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure why a lot more people aren't doing this.
Yeah.
But I know that a lot of people think about it and they sort of go back and forth. But I really think just do it and refuse to give up. You know what I mean? Just, if you really feel like you're putting value out there, keep putting value out there. Like, my YouTube channel had, I don't know, 100 subscribers for like a year. And then all of a sudden it's got 7,000 something. You know what I mean? So that there's kind of tiny little sad channel, but I really felt like I was doing something. So I just decided to keep doing it.
Yeah, that's exciting. That's really exciting. Getting serious traction on YouTube. That's super cool. Let's see. I had a bunch of questions right now. Let me see if there's any good ones. Well, you said in the beginning that you actually used a couple of resources. Like, I know you mentioned podcasts you listen to, but you said there was a course you took. What kind of courses do you think are worthwhile? And if there's any specifically, you can mention them. If not, like, in general.
Yeah, actually, I will mention the course I took. This course isn't really where I ended up going, the direction, but it was so valuable for a couple of reasons. So the course was Dropship Lifestyle by, I think it's Cravey. I think that's how you say it. And I got into it because, again, I'm like sharing with all my friends all the time. Look at this website I made.
Yeah.
And so this one guy was like, oh, that's cool. The way my family lives is that I do drop shipping. I never heard about drop shipping. We met in Nicaragua, and he was there with his wife, and I think it was at the time 3 kids. There's a 4th one now. And they were totally living off of this almost 100% passive income. I think he had to like put in orders a couple times a week.
Oh, wow.
And that was it.
Yeah.
Like, that was his life. So I was like, that is exactly what I want to do. Like, that's my goal. So he introduced me to this guy. And at the time, this course was smaller and a lot more affordable. Now I think it's gotten a lot bigger. and it's all about just like e-commerce. So I learned about Shopify. I learned about about how to find products. I had to I was so nervous at this point. I had to cold call these manufacturers. I was like, "Hi, I'm Adriana. I'm the owner of."
I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah. So that was my other failed product. Also, somewhat embarrassing. Night skills. He talked about picking a niche.
Yeah.
Or a niche. I don't know what version of that word you use. But so a big part of his thing, the program that he teaches is really about choose something that will be profitable, a product, and then you will become interested as you learn more about it.
Yeah.
That didn't happen for me, I'm going to be honest. I was not interested in the product at all.
Yeah.
But I learned so much about product selection, how to price products, how to advertise, and probably these aren't even as relevant anymore, and I'm sure he's updating the course, but getting introduced to AdWords and getting introduced to Amazon marketing and getting introduced to all these different things and this whole thing of passive income. And, I figured out what I like and what I don't like. So that course was awesome. It didn't end up working for me in that particular format.
Yeah.
But actually just his online course, especially at the time that I did it, I guess it was 4 years ago or something. It was just this, I swear it must have been with his webcam. Just this guy on a webcam doing a screen share, so what you guys are going to do now is blah, blah, blah. And it was huge. I mean, I had a huge forum of hundreds and hundreds of people who were really active, and it has changed my life. So when I started thinking about making an online course, I just felt if this dude just made this course with a webcam, I'm sorry if he hears this and actually listens. I don't know, maybe it was super nice, but it just seems so easy.
Yeah.
Such a simple thing. Just sit in front of a camera and talk about what you want to talk about and show it, and you're done.
Yeah.
There was very minimal editing. So that was another thing that was super important about that course is I got to see what an online course looks like. Content is king. So his content rocked.
Yeah.
And that was why his course was successful. So that was another reason it was really inspirational to me.
That's awesome. No, yeah, it's pretty crazy when people, I think that's one of the things people are not used to seeing is that if you can create value because of how important the content you have to share is, it doesn't matter that much the format. It doesn't have to look like a professional company putting stuff out.
For sure.
I mean, I had a buddy the other day, a huge YouTuber, who was telling me this guy had YouTube videos where he had thousands, 20,000 views on each video.
Yeah. Yeah.
He didn't even realize how to turn the iPhone. So he had blacked out half the screen, but his content was so good that he was just blowing up.
Okay. So it cracks me up. The very first video I ever made was I basically just started with people's biggest issue, which is their dogs jumping on them. That's that's the number one complaint. So I was let me just start with this video on the GoPro, right? No lighting. It's just the little iPod headphone things. That video has over 300,000 views. And
oh my gosh.
Yeah, and all my other ones have 1,000, cool, 2,000 in this one.
Yeah.
Some of them have 50 views. That video is the ugliest video I've ever made.
Yeah.
And it was way, way more popular than any of my newer videos that are on much nicer quality, nicer sound recording. So, I mean, really, I always tell people they're oh, but I don't have a camera yet. I'm guys, nobody cares.
Yeah.
About really, people don't really care about that if you give good content.
Yeah.
That's what they want. So, yeah.
No, it is. It's hard. It's a big mental shift.
Yeah.
Just what are the people out there want to see? And you've clearly hit it. So it's working.
At least on one video.
Yeah. No, I love that though, because you got all these people like yourself. You guys are superheroes. People think you're a dog trainer, but you're this closet super on. I mean, realistically, compared to people who have just worked a couple jobs, you probably know more about business than so many people who are business people, and it's
or at least maybe about more components.
It's self-taught.
Yeah, totally. I mean, as I told you, I quit college a semester away from graduating. People are I'm sorry. I don't feel bad about it at all. Yeah. There is so much information available online. I don't actually understand why we pay for a lot of what we pay for.
Yeah.
Not saying that I don't want people to but like get an online course that is exactly what you want to learn.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I just feel like if you know that you're interested in something, there's a lot of free information. So I didn't feel sad about, it's not like I was like, well, I'm done learning. No, not at all. I'm just learning what I want to learn right now. So that,
yeah,
I think it's awesome.
yeah. No, I mean, I totally agree. Like if you took the average cost of college and you had someone that was going to apply themselves and just bought a few online courses, it's like,
yeah, for sure.
It's insane. Let's see. So is there anything like you personally, I mean, I don't know enough about your background to know like, temperament, things like that to help people as an entrepreneur. Like, what do you think has been the number one thing that has helped you to succeed? Maybe just like part of how you were raised, who you are, whatever you think.
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I actually think one of my character flaws may have helped me. One of my character flaws is that I told you I get really into things.
Okay.
So I think that's something that I don't.
Is that a flaw? I feel like that's a good thing.
Well, because the other side is like, then I drop them. I'm like,
okay.
And I just drop it and I totally quit. So like my family was not super surprised when I was like, well, I'm done with college.
They're like, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
I was like, typical Adriana. There she goes again.
Yep.
So that's the flaws that I'm like, when I see something that I'm interested, I'll just drop whatever else is going on. So I guess the advantages, I will go all out and I'm just super interested. So I'm genuinely curious and like, I want to spend my time on that. But I think when I was like, you know what, I'm going to do this dog training thing. I don't know how much I slept for like months. You know what I mean? I was I woke up and I was just like furiously like WordPress. How do I do this? HTML. What do I do now? And
that's amazing.
And so I just got really into it. So that's something that I think it's not something that is like I should be proud of because I didn't choose it. That's just like my genetics. That's pretty much how I've been since day one.
Yeah.
But the stuff that I think having a support network has really helped me be a little bit more stable. And so, for example, the YouTube channel, right? I was pretty bummed out when I wasn't an instant star. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was going to be like, yeah, sure, YouTube. I'll just get on there and be super famous.
Yeah.
I knew it wasn't going to happen that way. But, I didn't get any money from YouTube. Why?
You're just like, this is a waste.
Yeah.
How does anyone do this?
Well, this was a bust. And, my videos had like 10 views. I'm like, you got 20 views. And I was like, why, why would I? So really what sort of helped me is that I've got a great, like my family is supportive. My fiance is really stable and he'll just tell me like, why don't we talk about this tomorrow? I can tell you.
Don't worry about it. Yeah.
Feeling a little intense right now. Why don't we just think about it a little more. So I think it has really helped to have some other people around my life who balance out my flaw / skill or whatever.
Strength / flaw.
Yeah, my strength. So just having different types of people around me, I think has helped just to keep me like steady. Like, no, you know what? I'm going to make this work. Yes, it didn't happen this month. And maybe I'm struggling a little bit right now, but just saying I will not stop making this try. And to be honest, I'm pretty sure that is the main reason why this business has succeeded where the others haven't.
Why? What specifically?
Just not, I think I just made the decision, I will make this work.
Yeah.
I felt passionate about what it was. And I still feel really passionate about what it is. I want to help dogs. It fits perfectly into my lifestyle design. And so I just had to make the decision, I will not give up on this. Like I will just keep going. Even when it feels like it's not going anywhere, I will continue to make good content. I will continue to put myself out there. So just refusing to say, it didn't work, it's easy to say that and just go back to like, I'm just going to go work again and go back to my normal job. So
the thing about that though, is how do you I know you might not have the perfect answer. This is a hard one. How do you, when you're trying these different things, know when you're like, you know what, this kind of makes sense for my life. I'm not giving up on this. Like I've made the decision to do this.
I mean, it's a good question because you're right. It's a hard one because I'm saying that. And yet I just folded Loving Paws a little while ago. Right. I think it was, how do I answer this? So I think it was, I saw potential in something. I tried it, and without putting that much effort, I started seeing some success. So I'm not saying like just stick to a crappy idea.
Right? Well, okay, what was the difference then? Because if this one you saw some success up front, With the other ones, was it like a grind from the start and it just was not getting any traction?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Kind of a grind. And you know what? Since I wasn't super passionate about the like, for example, when I did the drop shipping thing, like I said, I didn't really care about the product.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't get into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it was just like, I just didn't feel like something that I was invested in.
Yeah.
Whereas for dog training, I think you're working with like living beings, and I really see all the time, working one-on-one, I see all the time that I'm helping dogs live happier lives, and I'm helping their owners live happier lives with their dogs.
Yeah.
So that's really important to me. Education is really important. So I think the difference is that I decided to say, what do I like? And let me make that work. Does that make sense?
It totally does.
Instead of just saying, well, I want to live this way one day, so let me just find a product, or, you know what I mean? I know that makes
just
me
like blindly try to make it work.
Yeah. That makes me sound terrible in the past.
No, not at all. I mean, that's how most people are. Like I said, I think people just don't talk about it. Like, everyone needs money, and it's better to do it in a way that's efficient. So you said you had some initial success. What was like that initial success that you were like, oh, this is starting well?
I think it was mostly when I made my online courses.
Okay.
And I didn't get tons. I still haven't gotten tons of sales, but I've gotten some sales. And so for me, I was like, yeah, because I've literally just been sitting here, and every couple of months or every month I get a few sales in. Yeah. And that's a nice little bit of side income. You know what I mean? Like, it's a nice thing that it made me realize, like, holy cow, like I literally have just been sitting here. I haven't even touched it for months, and I'm still making money from it. Mm-hmm. Same thing with the YouTube. It's not a super great money income thing, but it is very inspiring to, like, month after month still making money off of this video that I made like over a year ago. And yeah, it's just a little bit, but still, it's just like, it's really motivating to see that passive income working.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
No, yeah, it definitely does. It definitely does. I mean, especially the part where you said it just kind of from the beginning, there was some like an indication, because I have heard that people say, things that start well really go well, and things that aren't going to go well usually, there's always some issues. Yeah. So that's totally. So I have one more specific question and then one general one. So the specific one is, you said there was a time where you were like, I'm going to do this. I'm working on this WordPress all the time. You said you're even looking up, some of the HTML. Like, if you had to give a period of time where you're working very hard on setting this up, what do you think would be like the average time per day? And then, like, how long did that last where you were doing that much work average on FactAcademy? Right.
Okay. So I'll give you the answer for FactAcademy rather than, so like Loving Positive, when I started learning about WordPress, but at the same, I still take clients. I like still working with people. So it's not that I do this all day, every day, but there were times when I'm just sitting down and that's all I can do. You know what I mean? I've just got hours and hours, and there's no end in sight. And it took months, to be honest. If I had to give you a specific, I don't really have a very consistent schedule. No, so it's hard for me. Like I said, I sort of work in spurts. So maybe 1 week I spend, like, I don't know, 20 hours in the week, and I'm just like, every spare moment I got, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to work on this. And then I spend all of the weekend, and then I might have a week where I'm just like, I just can't today. Yeah. And right now we're still sort of in the setup phase, I would say, because we're still building up our content library. Mm-hmm. I want to get to the point where I've got all the content that I'm going to have for a year, which I'm close, but I'm still working on it. And honestly, I'm super excited right now because I'm dogs to do all kinds of things. So I'll probably build up our content library way beyond what my goal is. Yeah. But then there's the blogs too. And so I'm setting up those posts and having posts ready to post regularly is also part of the setup. And so that part is still going on. And I do probably try to spend at least an hour a day on it, which actually isn't that much, you know what I mean? So you get good benefits. And then maybe I'll spend a couple of hours on the weekend filming. But I can film, maybe up to 7 videos in one weekend, which means 7 weeks of content. Content, because right now I'm just doing once a week. I may end up bumping that up if I have so many videos, but
wow, that's
the answer. I'm sorry.
No, that's pretty reasonable. I mean, it sounds like at the peak there'll be interspersed weeks where you do like 20 hours a week, which is like a part-time job. Yeah. And then, now it's more reasonable. It fits around your schedule. So.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I really can't complain, right? Because I'm working really hard. Maybe at the beginning of Loving Pause, when I had just quit college and I didn't, I had some money saved up and I was like, I'm just doing this.
yeah.
I probably worked more, maybe even more than a 40-hour work week.
Yeah.
But again, it's like because I was just so into it.
Yeah.
Like so interested. So I probably spent a lot of upfront time learning about how to do some of these things.
Yeah. Well, I think to be fair, I think, when you're learning a lot of the technical stuff, like sure, you can do technical stuff and then write and whatever and stack it and work a pretty huge week. But when you're trying to do creative work, like with the curriculum, that's very difficult to force. You're not going to sit down and do a 60-hour week trying to think like how to translate like dog training manuals and written things into videos.
No, impossible. Yeah, that would have been really challenging.
You can't force that.
I think Tim Ferriss says something like, you really can't do more. I think he says like max is 4 hours of creative work a day. And that's like on a good day. For me, at least, that's like on a good day. I can't pound out that much creative work. I can do a lot of the like tedious, like let me just edit this blog post type of stuff, but I can't do tons of creating content.
Yes. Yeah. That seems like it would take a lot of brain power.
Yeah.
So we've been going for a while. I really appreciate your time. It's been awesome.
Yeah, no problem.
Is there anything that I didn't ask you that I should have?
I think I recently had this, I think it's an epiphany for myself anyway.
Okay.
And this sort of happened at the time that I was like, you know what, I'm not going to do Loving Pause. I had a lot of people saying, don't go into this group project and then leave your own thing, because what if it doesn't go right? And, what if, I don't know. And I totally get it, because going into business with people is hairy. There's a lot of trust that goes into it. But I was careful, and I made sure that I worked with our lawyer to write up our agreements, particularly with like the YouTube channel, which I sort of think of as my baby, because I've made almost all of the I've made all the content on there.
Yeah.
But I will say that in the end, I have been really happy with the decision to let go of my personal project and move into this group thing, because, bear with me here. I was thinking about ants. And how ants are like these teeny, teeny, tiny little creatures, but like together, they are just amazing.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So much stuff. And then I was thinking about, all these dog trainers that I know, we have this one-man business or one-woman business, and it's just one little pocket. But I was like, what if we all came together? We all believe in the same style of dog training. Like, what if we all came together and we're like, no, we're just going to stand as a force. And so I really started thinking about that. So when these ladies reached out to me and were like, hey, we have this idea, to me, that was great, because I really think that when you can, especially when it's something you're passionate about, right? Maybe not necessarily if you're just like, no, I want to make this product work, like do that on your own. But for a like passion project, something that's really, really important, that my major goal is I would like to see this change in the world. I think that sometimes people are a little bit too like, this is mine, where you actually can probably get to your goal faster if you are working with like-minded people. And if you're like encouraging and not necessarily, I think it takes a little bit of, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, we both do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So it's like an ego killer, like you cannot have an ego on the mats. And I do think that sometimes, and also there's like the sunk cost fallacy, right? So like, oh, but I've invested so much time in my own little thing, I can't let it go.
Yeah.
I have really not regretted for a second, like letting go of my personal thing where I'm struggling, I'm doing everything, and coming into this team where we have an accountant now, we have a lawyer. Like, it's really nice that I don't have to go and research and write up my own legal documents to get releases for my videos.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that is very nice. Same thing with the accounting. I don't like that part.
Yeah.
Business, that wasn't fun for me. So I think you talked about what advice would you have at some point. So I think that my advice is, don't be afraid to get help from other people, and don't be afraid to like share with other people what you're doing, and get help and get support and build a support network. I think to me that has been like the most inspiring thing, and I'm really happy that I did it.
Wow. That's exciting. Sounds like you got yourself a dog training startup. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Good for you, man. Yeah, that's really exciting. I feel like I'm gonna have to do a follow-up. There's so many questions I could go on about, but I'm gonna cut it for today. I'm gonna I'll cut the recording and then we can talk after, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. I really appreciate you coming on. Thank you.
No problem at all.